everyone. How are we doing today? So first off, as I indicated, I think yesterday or maybe the day before, I wanted to take a closer look at what possibly would happen to our economy, to myself, if Elizabeth Warren was elected president. So I spent a bunch of time yesterday and some more this morning, kind of looking at that, and I have my thoughts. These are just my thoughts. There are obviously no predictions in this, but given what I've read in several articles, this is what I think. I'd love to hear what you think. Obviously, she's gaining in the polls. There are obviously no decisions yet. It's a long, long race, so we'll see what happens. But given her rise and her rhetoric, I think it's time we ask ourselves questions because, again, as investors, we have to understand the rules in the game that are being played and kind of maneuver around all of that. It doesn't really matter to me who is president. My job is to figure out how to take care of myself and my family and things of that nature. I frankly think all politicians are disgusting. And yeah, so first and foremost, before I jump in, I do want to recognize that the world appears to be a safer place today, if not just for a day. It looks like we took out a ISIS leader in Syria successfully with no loss of American life, which is pretty awesome. Shout out to all the men and women who serve, have served, are serving, will serve. I've said it many times. I'm raised by parents that were both in the military, met in the military. I wouldn't be here without the military. So always, always much respect to them. All right, so I have lots of thoughts on what an Elizabeth Warren presidency could mean. So I guess in no particular order, I actually got to tick these off as I go through them so I don't repeat myself. First and foremost, I think the first thing that's going to happen is um, the government, whatever you mean by the government, I think the government's going to grow. I think her distrust of tech, Wall Street, the rich, pretty much anybody with money and power means she's going to add a lot more government oversight. She is going to probably create new, I don't know what you call them, departments, divisions, departments probably. And she is going to be enacting, with the help of Congress and the Senate and all of that. No, our system doesn't allow one person really to do anything, but she's going to be spearheading a much bigger government, in my opinion. And maybe that's good or bad. I'm not here to voice good or bad, right? I don't want to make this a political show. I'm just trying to figure out how I move in the lanes of what could be an Elizabeth Warren presidency. So first things first, I think the government is much bigger after 4 years of her presidency than it was when she took over, if she takes over. Uh, Next up, I think oil prices rise, and I think um, they rise frankly because she's going to restrict supply, right? She is a big proponent of, frankly, stopping fracking. Again, I have no vote whether fracking is good or bad. I do know that fracking has found a way to increase our supply of oil and allowed oil prices to fall. I also know that fracking has environmental dangers and a downside. Don't get me wrong. This is again, I'm not voicing good or bad. I just expect oil prices to rise should she become president of the United States. So again, bigger government, I think oil prices are going to rise. She thinks Uncle Sam should run healthcare. That one scares me. And it scares me because I've done research on Uncle Sam running healthcare for the VA, Veteran Affairs. And let's just say it's not pretty. I mean, look it up. You can look it yourself. It's out there. It's like, a year-long wait for this and 6 months for that, and people are dying without service. Not good. Again, also goes to show that the government will get bigger, right? She's likely going to create a whole new department out of thin air called Healthcare for All or whatever she's going to call it. So I think that one scares me, right? Anytime you get involved with people's health and you think the government can do something, I can't think of anything the government does better I don't know. I guess maybe the IRS. Maybe they're better than picking. I'm just trying to think of a department that does something kind of that has to be done. That's the only one I could think of. But in the end, I think healthcare run by the government should frighten every citizen. But that could come to be. What else? Oh, I think her attack on the rich and the successful. She is clearly portraying the rich as evil, which I think is a horrible strategy. But the longer she keeps doing that, I think some of the rich and powerful simply move, right? If they pick up residency and take their millions or billions or whatever it is and plants themselves in Canada or Australia or Europe or Asia or South America, wherever they want to go, they and they give up maybe their passports. Again, these are people of means. So, if they are, yeah, I don't get it, right? If you put together a tax plan that is punitive to the rich and powerful, some of them will pay it, right? The Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates of the world, they'll pay it. They don't care. But some people will go, no, I'm not paying that. I'm out of here. I'm going to go live in my villa in some other country. So I think we're going to see some of the rich and powerful leave, and frankly, take jobs with them. I think that's going to lead to higher unemployment. I think when you sort of the rich and powerful who are the ones that own assets and businesses, some of them are going to say no thanks. They're going to plant their businesses elsewhere, and suddenly they're not headquartered in California or Texas or Florida. They're headquartered in country X, which, oh, by the way, is going to invite them in by giving them tax breaks and building this and that, and it's going to be interesting. So I expect also corporate profits to fall. I think she's going to enact a tax structure that, frankly, tries to collect more taxes, which I've said many times needs to happen. And I think that's probably a very good thing long term, although unfortunately it will have a short term impact. When you implement new tax structures that are meant to grind out more tax revenue, which again is a good thing, there's going to be some short term impacts, and that's going to mean lower earnings per share, lower corporate profits, and frankly, a stock market. I think the stock market, given all the new regulations, the attack on big tech, the attack on fracking, all these other things, could lead to a stock market collapse of 20% or more. I do think that will be a collapse early, like first year. Uh, Again, I think some of her plans are right, like taxes and things of that nature, at least income taxes, not wealth tax. I hate the wealth tax idea, as I've created videos on many times. But getting more income tax from the quote unquote rich is a worthwhile fight, in my opinion. And but I do think that's going to come with a short-term stock collapse. And I say collapse because it's greater than 20%. If it was 10%, I'd say fall. So I just think 20% is going to hurt. Again, I think after a couple of years, maybe the market is back when they've adjusted to the new rules and regulations, and just keep going. I do think any fall in this stock market, given that first year, could be a buying opportunity, frankly, because I don't think it will have. Uh, I don't think it will be down forever. The capitalist system will find a way to work through it. But when the rules change, people will evaluate earnings per share and growth, and that first year of presidency could look really ugly, I think, in my opinion. Just keep checking off lists. The other thing I think that will happen is I think interest rates are going to rise. Um, I think just, you know, lending and all of that's not going to stay low forever. I don't think that she's a huge impact on that, but I think the changing of the guard will cause rates to rise. And if rates rise, I think housing falls, because again, I think housing is a mortgage payment decision for folks, and if mortgage rates go from 3x to 5x, right, 5.x, whatever it is, I think housing is going to take a big hit. Again, that could just be a short term thing. It could be a year one, year two thing. But I think that a lot of her plans, at least to me, feel like steps towards socialism. Every time I turn around, she's giving something away, right? She's giving healthcare away, she's giving education away, she's giving. And, you know, so you got to take care of folks. I totally get it. But giving something to all is, I don't think is a long-term success. And then what happens to the budget, right? What happens to this overspending? And that's why I think interest rates go up, because how do we pay for all of that? Okay, we're going to tax the rich, but remember I said the rich are going to leave. So you're going to be taxing less people that you think you are. So pretty crazy. And then I think it's also lastly pretty clear that she's going to go after big tech. I think Amazon, Google, Facebook, oof, she's going to hit you hard. Um, she's going to try to break you up, and she's going to spend all 4 years trying to do it. Uh, I'm not. She is just. She thinks Facebook, Amazon, Google have too much power. She probably thinks they're monopoly. Monopoly. She's going to break them up. I think she's going to go after that hard. I actually go back and research how long it took to break up big oil. I don't know if it could be done in 4 years or not, because I'm sure there's legal fights. Also, what would happen if they moved, right? What would happen if Amazon moved their headquarters from Washington to Canada? And what would happen if Google and Facebook I think is in Palo Alto and Google's in Mountain View. What would happen if they moved to, I don't know, the Caribbean island somewhere, right? Because they're actually that's probably what they would do, right? Why does Mark Zuckerberg have to live in Palo Alto? He could live anywhere. So he'll probably just pick up and move and declare his domicile and his headquarters somewhere else, forcing other people to move. And if that happens, wow, can you imagine what would happen to Bay Area housing if Facebook and Google left? Housing would collapse. I mean, like by 50%. That would be scary. Oh, that would be bad. Anyways, so that's what I think. I think I got everything. Let me look. Yes or no? I'm not sharing my running yet, but clearly in Elizabeth Warren, in my mind, there are some upsides for sure. There always is, but there's a whole uh, as you just kind of really what I think she's capitalism does have negatives, but last time I checked, it's still the best system on the planet. If you find a better one, let's talk. Uh, Socialism is scary to me. I don't think that's what the American dream was built on, at least not what I was raised with. So I am not a fan, clearly. But it's too early to tell. The Democratic Party hasn't nominated anyone yet, so we will just sit on the sidelines and see what happens. All right, everybody, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. Let me know what you think. Bye.